By the end of the semester or the end of the year, do you have a ton of unused worksheets that you made photocopies of and now you don't know what to do with them? Well, let's turn them into a lesson. Let's go. Hey there, English teachers. Jesse here from Sweed Academy, and I want to help you in the classroom. And I want to give you a really cool idea that I actually just did, and it worked so well that I had to come home and share it with you. So here it goes. And we're going to use some unused worksheets that you've made during the class that maybe you've made too many photocopies or something like that. And we're going to take it and we're going to teach comparatives and superlatives. Or rather than teach, because your students probably already know them, we're going to use comparatives and superlatives in our class. And the way we're going to do that, we're going to make paper airplanes. And I'm going to make a paper airplane right now, hopefully during this lesson, during this video. And we're going to see how it flies afterwards. Now, you can take this lesson in any direction that you want to take it, from, the more advanced speakers to teaching them the details of explaining how to make paper airplanes with vocabulary where it's like fold, make the crease tight or sharp, whatever you want to say, teach the word crease, make some paper airplane strategy, predictions, but with you, I'm just going to keep it basic, and we're just going to work with the basics. You can take this any direction you want with your classes, but I'm making a paper airplane here. Paper airplanes are really fun too, right? And then after the lesson, we're going to take them out in the hallway and have a competition. So you can see on the video or on the worksheet that's attached to this video, that's attached to this lesson, you'll see a space for them to write their names and number their airplane. So whenever they make an airplane, write like a number or the name of that particular plane, because here's the thing. I make sure that I let them know we're going to have 3 goes, 3 passes in the competition, 3 turns. And I'm going to give them 4 pieces of paper. And you can do whatever you want, but you lay the rules down before. I give them 4. 1 for a test plane or a test design, test run, and then 3 for the competition. They can do anything they want as far as design, but let them know we're building it for distance and not for tricks. And give them maybe a time limit. It's always a good idea to give them time limits when they do things. This gives them a sense of urgency, and it kind of keeps your class buttoned up nice and smooth. So there's the second half. We're going to fold this down and make the point of the plane. We can call it the nose of the plane. You can teach any of these vocabulary before the class if you'd like. And you can even go through airplane building strategy if you'd like to. But today we're just going to talk about the competition. And as you see on the paper, you have a space for all the students' names. Well, you can divide them up in groups if you have very big classes, right? Groups of 2 or 3 or 5, whatever, and have them design their airplane. Give them 4 minutes or so to design, 5 minutes maybe. And there we go. After you give them time to build, or you pre-teach the vocabulary, then you give them time to build, like vocabulary like the nose, the wings, the tail, the fuselage if you want to. Then we make the airplanes. And this is actually kind of a pretty basic airplane that I made here. Let's readjust. And you'll see the kids can make some brilliant airplanes. And then I took them out in the hallway. You can even, if you want to get hardcore about it, bring a tape measure and get very official. The bigger idea, or the bigger deal that you make this, the bigger deal they will see it. So try to make it into a big competition day. I really like this idea for the end of the day, for the end of the year or the end of the term. And that way it's kind of a nice relaxing atmosphere. and no one wants to study at the end of the year. Here's my plane here, and that's when and we have all these extra papers, right? That what are we going to do with? Recycle them? Well, let's use them. Let's reuse them before we recycle them. And then we're going to take them out in the hallway, either mark the tiles. If your school has tile floors that it's easy to count, we just did that. Or mark it with distance and set the rules. Here's a note. Set the rules before the first person throws about whether you want to go the total distance or you count it where the plane hits the floor. Because if you don't set that before the game, your kids are going to argue about it during the game. I guarantee it. They'll probably argue anyway. And then you take them out in the hallway and have them record. You don't even teach them the language and what we're going to do after. Let the language come later. First is the airplane, and then the competition. That was a smooth plane. Did you see that? That would have won. And then they mark it down. They've gotten really into it. They marked it down themselves, right? It's depending on your class. It might be, their native language might come out a lot. So monitor that however you do that. And then you take them out in the hallway, record it, whether individually or in teams, however you want to do it for your class, and then go back in. And you see in the second part of this worksheet, page 2, you see an example sentence using the comparatives. And I use the verbs traveled, flew, or went, and farther than, shorter than, the shortest, as far as, not as far as. And then on page 2, they're going to create their own sentences. So they didn't even realize. This is why you don't tell them about this before, because they don't even realize they're going to do some writing afterwards. And they were so used to writing the numbers and recording the scores and marking the contest that they're still in writing mode. So it wasn't even a fight. So that's amazing. And it was about something they had just done, right? The results to their own competition. You can also have award ceremonies or something like that if you'd want. Get into it as much as you'd like. But make paper airplanes in class. You can also have other ones. The trickiest, depending on how much time, depending on how fast the class goes. Carlos had made the coolest airplane. Francisco's went the shortest, something like that. Did the most flips, did the most tricks. You can take this any direction that you'd want to take it. I just shared with you just the basic format for the comparative and superlative. So play around with this and let me know if you have any ideas to work with it. And if you like this idea, if you like this lesson, then consider hitting that subscribe button and the bell so you can get more lessons and more teacher advice every week. Keep teaching and keep learning. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.